Hi folks, Rich Pasini from rjpasini.com. I'm making this video because I just want to share some things with you guys. Um, if you go to a lot of YouTube websites and stuff like that, and you hear a lot about sellers, talking about how much money they're making per day. You can make $1,000 a day. You can make so much money a day, or whatever. And the reason why I want to share this video with you is that I would think, in my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion as an eBay seller, that the people that make these claims, I mean, I'm not saying it can't be, can't be validated, but what I'm trying to say is, it all depends on what you're comfortable with, your comfortable level is, as far as making money and doing this on a full-time business. Some people do this as a part-time venture to make extra money, an extra $200, $300, $400 a month. And that's good. I mean, extra money, who can't use extra money? Some people get thrown into the mix because of certain circumstances, job loss, whatever. Maybe you just want to venture out on your own. There's different situations. But for me, I look at it this way. If a person wants to do this on a full-time basis, my thing is try to have whatever bills you have, try to have them minimized or have none. Like I don't have any credit cards. I mean, I do have maybe one or two, but I don't have any balances on them. It helps if you don't have any car payments, which is a good thing. And if your mortgage is paid off, that's a bigger help as well. But I would say on a small seller basis, even for myself, if you can make at least 100 a day on eBay, selling stuff, then that's not bad. I mean, I'm talking a consistent, $100 a day. And if you could do it 7 days a week, I'm rounded off to Monday through Friday, so it's 500 a week, 2,000 a month. Less your expenses, your eBay fees and your supplies and the merchandise you're picking up, your stock, whatever. That's not bad if you could do that. I've had days where I had little or no sales, and to be honest with you, to justify to do it on a full-time basis with that, I'm not saying it should shatter anybody's dreams or hopes, believe me, because I'm in the same situation. I wanna make this grow too, but you might want to have a reserve put away for those slow days. And the other problem with the eBay, as far as selling on that platform, it's a nice platform to sell. But there are others. You guys, there's Amazon, there's eBay, of course, and there's another one called Bonanza. And Bonanza, I've got some sales with that, and I'm gonna do a video on that there and show you, how that works if you're not familiar with it. It's not a bad platform. Honestly, it's got a lot of kind of good ratings on as far as selling, like an alternative to eBay. It's got pretty good things. The fee values, I think, a little cheaper and everything. It's got more pluses than minuses, at least my personal opinion. And I'm just trying to say, I'm not making this video to kind of blow your dreams down, whatever, knock them down. But I'm just trying to be realistic with this here. It's a lot of work too. I mean, to go out and source your stuff. It depends where you get it. If you're going thrifting, go to thrift stores. If you're going to yard sales, garage sales, if you go to estate sales, it does take a good part of your day up. For me, it takes me quite some time, because if I go to a thrift store and I pick up 10 items, whatever, or 20 items, whatever, I do videos. I do sneak peeks, as you know. If it's the first time you come into my auction site on eBay, you'll notice that I probably one of the few sellers, or a small percentage of sellers that sell, and I use the videos to augment that. It does take time. I've listed one time, I think, it was 10 or 15 items, and it took me hours to do it. And the only reason why it takes me hours to do, you might say, well, I could shoot those things off in no time. You probably could. There are people out there that probably have a better system than me, but that's okay. Everybody works at their own pace. My thing is, I do the videos when I come home from thrifting. I do the webcam like I'm doing now, and I do a sneak peek, I call it sneak peek preview on the items that's going to be going up on eBay. So if I get them on Thursday, they'll be going up on Friday, and so on and so forth. And I do it, I explain, what the flaws or what the problems may be, just to give the buyers a heads up on it. And then I do my research, and I find that with eBay there is a glut of specific items that you sell out there. Like you might come out with a little widget, and you might do research and type in this widget on the search engine, on eBay search engine, and you say, wow, 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 showed up. And it kind of like makes you, it's kind of discouraging when you see numbers like that. That's how many are out there. But we got to understand, eBay is a big platform. It's, I don't know, 165 million people are out there or whatever doing this stuff, selling and buying, whatever. I buy very little on eBay. The only thing I buy on eBay basically is toner cartridge and ink cartridge. For my Brother laser printer I have, I buy toner cartridge from a vendor on there, and I keep that person in my save files, and ink cartridge from my HP. I got the HP 6500 printer, color printer, so I buy from them. That's about basically all I buy. But my suggestion is, I don't have much. I'm not, even though I made it to top rated seller, I don't, as you could see, I only have like, I think 160 plus on there right now, and I've been selling. So I mean, I think it was up at 168, 169. It's selling. I've been selling items. I wish I could sell all of them. I mean, it would come out to be a nice little chunk of change. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And my suggestion to people is that I would make a list. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a spreadsheet for myself that's going to be outlaid, what I bought it for, the seller fees, and so on. It's going to probably be by a legal site by the time I get through with it. And I'm going to put I put the trending on there, and I put on there buy and sell. Like, not buy and sell. Would I buy it again? But I have it written down there. And yes or no, would I buy this item again? And the duration, how long it took. I put in the duration, like did it take 30 days? Did it take 60 days? If you're going to have items, I hear some sellers on there that's selling, and they said, oh, we had this thing for a year. Now, it's probably that one particular item. I mean, if you're selling stuff, if you can't sell something within a year's time, don't even bother selling eBay. No, but they might have an item or items on there for months. And if you're doing this on a full-time basis, and you're looking at revenue, I mean, you're going to be sweating every month. So my suggestion is, what I do is I have a list. Like I said, it's going to be on a spreadsheet. I'm going to keep track of tabs of what sells at what time of the year. Well, you'll know it anyway by when you put in the date. And if it's a buy or if it's a yes or a no on it. And if it's a no, I'm going to stay away from it. And even though you say, well, you sold it, but it might have taken 3 months, it might have taken 2 months, 3 weeks, whatever. But if you find yourself buying a lot of items and they're just sitting there, they're stagnating, and you're not moving them, you're either going to lower your price point, offer free shipping to move that item out or get rid of it, or in some cases you hear people saying, well, I just give it back to the thrift store again. So now it goes back on the shelf again, and some other poor person buys it. Another reseller will think, oh, well, and here's the thing too, I see it all the time in thrift stores. When people go to thrift stores, it's amazing. I do it myself, but you see so many people in there, resellers. They walk around with their cell phones, and I do the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't do it like they do it. I mean, they got that thing glued to their hand. They're picking this up. But I mean, if you see something, you pick it up and you look in there and they're scrolling. And the thing is with eBay, when people are looking at the listing price, like what it's listing for in here, if a person, we all determine our own value, basically. We all sit there and say, well, if I buy something for 5, I'm going to sell it for 10 or 15. My thing is, it's going to find its market value. I mean, I don't care what it is. You could say, I could sell this remote here and say it's worth $15. And if you have like 43 people or 20 people looking at it, and no one's buying it, it's not there. It's not going to happen. It's not going to sell. If it does sell, you might just find that 1 in a million that's I'm going to buy that remote. To me, it's worth the money. And that's the other thing too. You'll find that when you do sell, or you see people selling or buying, eBay is like it's a funny market, like the way people sell and buy. You might get a seller selling a particular item, and the item might be, let's say it's a $20 item with a very expensive shipping fee. And then you'll see you'll see the same item by somebody else. They'll be selling something, and they'll have lower. The item might be more money, and they might have a lesser shipping fee, whatever, and vice versa. I think you know where I'm going with this here, but it works in reverse sometimes. One person may say, "Well, I can get it for $9.99," and the guy is selling it for, and his shipping fee is like maybe $5 or $6. Where the guy is selling something cheaper, and he might have a less, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But the point I'm getting across is that I think a lot of people go into eBay with the intentions that they're going to make it big, and we all hear the success stories. I have a book on my bookshelf there, The eBay Millionaire, and I never really got a chance to read the whole thing. It's an inspiring story and stuff like that. I mean, I remember years back. I got on eBay. I started selling eBay in 1999, and on and off. That's probably why if you look, you probably say, "Wow, you only got 700 or whatever, almost 780 feedbacks. It should be a lot more than that." But I've been doing it on and off. So I mean, if I did it consistently from 1999 up to the present, I would probably have thousands of feedbacks. But unfortunately, when you're married, you get young kids, you don't always devote the time to that. You got to devote your time to the wife, the kids, and whatever, your house chores and so forth. So it's not that easy. But, I just think that a lot of people have this conception that, you go out there, you jump on the eBay bandwagon, and you're going to pick up your little thrifted items or whatever and go home, snap pictures, and boom, you throw it up there. And you know something? For some people, it may work, but my thing is, and this is just me. It doesn't. You could take it for face value. I would like to do, my personal opinion. I would like to at least do $2,000 a month in sales. That's in sales. That's your gross, not your net after all your expenses. But that would be a nice little income to have, as far as extra income coming in. There was a lady that was on the eBay radio that was talking to Griff. I don't know if you guys listen to eBay radio. And she wasn't complaining, kind of semi-complaining about, I guess she's a top-rated seller, and how her sales went from, I think she said $5,000 a month or $4,000, either $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and it went down to half. And then even lower than that, I think she said she was like down to $1,500 or whatever a month, which is still not bad considering. I mean, to some people that's a car payment, maybe some credit card bills, whatever. You have $1,500 a month, not bad. I mean, I don't know what her net was, but that was what she was talking about. And her complaint was, I call it a complaint, that she felt that eBay wasn't doing right by her. She felt like her sales, her items weren't being seen. But you gotta understand the whole situation with eBay. There's millions of people out there probably selling the same thing you got. I mean, you really gotta look into it and take your time researching what you want to sell and try to find that niche. A lot of people, I do a little variety of each. I like to sell DVDs, games, some clothing on occasion. I don't have much. I think I got a couple pairs of jeans on there right now. But for the most part, a lot of people, they try to hone in on one thing. And if you're gonna specialize in that, do research on it. I mean, you probably hear this many times. There's probably thousands of people on YouTube doing the same thing, giving you this type of advice, or just talking about, sharing their thoughts with you. But you really might want to, sit back, think about what you're doing. I'm not saying being discouraging. Believe me, by far I'm not. I mean, I've been doing it. I'm going to keep on doing it. I like eBay, but there are other alternatives to selling. Like I said, Amazon's another big player too. I don't really deal with them. I have an account with them. I like to, probably test the waters with them. I've been strictly selling on eBay and Bonanza. Bonanza, I've been getting some sales, not as much as eBay. You got to look at it this way. Even though I said earlier that Bonanza's got good reviews and stuff like that, yeah, that's true. I mean, their fees are cheaper, but the exposure with Bonanza as opposed to eBay is like the 900-pound gorilla with eBay. I mean, it's a big platform, and Amazon's probably bigger than eBay, I would think. I don't know. It depends. I mean, I don't know if you want to equate them to be the same, but there's a lot of variables with this type of business too. I was listening to on eBay again, eBay Radio, where they have this guy that comes on and he talks all about what's going on, with the Postal Service and FedEx, and he was saying that UPS, I believe it's UPS, FedEx, and the Postal Service, they're going to ante up their fees. So now the buyer is going to be paying more in shipping fees, and that's good. That might hamper the business down. It depends. It might slow it down somewhat, But I mean, I'm not trying to say these things to be discouraging, but when you hear people saying I'm making $1,000 a day, I'm making this much money, that much, do your research on. I'm not knocking those people that are saying that. I mean, if they are, that's great. It's wonderful. God bless them if they can do that there. I mean, I would love to do that myself, make $1,000 a day. I mean, I don't know how many items they have on eBay to do that, to accomplish that. You have to. I mean, I've been on some sellers' sites that have stores. I think I've seen one guy had 3,898 items, and that's a lot of items. There is one guy that I heard back in the day. eBay did it. They had him on the radio. I mean, on the radio, eBay Radio, and I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's E4 City, something like that. He's got over 1 million. If you look at his feedback, it's 1 million plus. He's got that white star, white shooting star, and he's got thousands and thousands of thousands. I mean, that's strictly a full-time, full-fledged, all-out operation, and he's got to be doing it. I would think he's got to be making in the millions. I would think. There was another guy that was on back in the day, and I don't know if you ever heard of them. It was called Glacier Bay DVDs. These two guys were selling DVDs, and supposedly their revenue was $10 million a year. That's nice. I mean, I wouldn't mind making that. Of course, you got to figure out that's probably their gross and then their expense, but their profit comes out. I'm sure they were making a good profit. There was a little situation going on, so they're not on. As far as I know, they're not on eBay anymore. But that's the story I read. You could probably do a Google search on it. It's Glacier Bay DVD. And they'll probably tell you the story about them. And from what I understand, they were doing $10 million in sales. But there are people making a good living, a comfortable living off of eBay, and comfortable living off of Amazon as well. But I'm just trying to say for myself and for the viewers out there, the people that are getting into this line of work or starting this type of business, start small. Be like a baby. You gotta crawl before you walk. Take it in steps, and if you can invest time into it, watch your spending. Make sure you go into it with little no bills. I mean, what I mean by that is don't go in it like heavy-duty credit card debt, car payments, mortgage, rent, whatever it is. Try to limit your bills because you're going to have slow peaks. It's going to be all peaks and valleys with this year, ups and downs. And you're going to have days where you're going to make any money, some money, and you're going to have days where you don't make anything. And that's happened with me. I've seen days where I go on there. Like I said, I'm not it might be a top-rated seller, but I don't have hundreds and hundreds of items to sell on eBay. But that's because I try to I limit myself on selling. I'm not going to go out and spend $500 on sourcing products, on stock, and then put it on there and hoping I can make. If I spend $500, hoping to make $1,000, like an extra $500 on all of that, you want to at least double that if you could. If you buy $500 worth of merchandise, you at least want to make $1,000 or better. So I do things a little different than the average guy. Maybe I don't go crazy. Like I said, I go to the thrift stores like every couple of days. I want to make sure the inventory I have, I can get rid of it, because then it ends up sitting around. And the thing is, another little tip, when you have items listed on eBay, look at the views, how many views you got. There was an item there I have on one of my search, on the thing there. I always check out, whenever I go onto my selling window, I like to look at the views, how many views I got. And then you look at the watches, of course, whether you got none or 1, 2, or you got none. That's fine, whatever. But I always look at the views, and if I see something that has 50 views, 100, like there's one thing I had 100 and something views on it, and the price point was pretty good. It wasn't bad, but I asked myself, why aren't these people buying? So what I would do is I would click on my item, see what you look at the wording in there, and my description. Did I write something wrong? Is it something in the tagline, like the title line? Maybe I didn't put a I don't know. Maybe I misspelled the word or something like that. I don't know what it is, but if you got that many people viewing and not one of them is interested in your item, there's a problem. So anyway, what I do is in a situation like that is I go on the eBay search engine, open up another window, and I go in the eBay search engine, and I type in that same product that I'm selling. And then you look, and you see 500, 1,000, whatever it is. You're probably low on the totem pole. And the people that are viewing, they're searching, they're hunting. They're hunters out there. They're seeking for the right price, so to speak, before they make that commitment. And the funny thing is, it might be a $5 item, it might be a $10 item. You might say, "What?" Me, if I was to buy something like that, I really wanted it. I'm not going to search for days and days on end to buy it. I'm gonna buy it. And that's it. As simple as all that. I mean, I'm even wrong. I had sales where I bought something from the thrift store, brought it home, took pictures, did video on it, and within a couple hours it sold. I've had things like that. I had things sell in one day. I mean, sometimes you get lucky like that with eBay. You get lucky. If somebody really wants it, like they say, the early bird gets the worm. That's what happens. And I guess the buyer, if they're seeking that particular item, they probably figure, hey, there's nobody else really selling it. If they are, their price points are too high, the shipping's too high, But that's the thing. And with the price point, you want to try to incorporate the price with the shipping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you an example. If I'm selling something for $5, the item's for $5. It depends, like the weight and all that stuff there. And let's say your shipping's for $5. So between the two, it's a $10 item. You know what I'm saying? So you say, well, for $10, I'm getting the shipping and the item. It makes it more appealing than to sell a $10 item or a $5 item with, I don't know, $11 shipping, $12.99 shipping, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to be more appealing to the buyer. You got to kind of entice them. And I play with the formulas, so to speak. I try to do I use different tactics to try to get the item sold. People may say, well, if you're doing videos, how come your sales ain't that great? How come you're not getting rid of a lot of stuff? I don't do videos on every single thing. I'm not going to do a video on one of these. The only time you'll see this in a video is in a sneak peek. I'm not gonna purposely make a video on this and say, hey, this works, and first off, there's no light in there to see it anyway. So even if you turn it on, you're not going to see any light. What am I going to talk about? This here's work. It's tested, whatever. I do these on sneak peeks. So if I go to the thrift store, let's say today it's Saturday, I go to the thrift store and I'm going to buy, I don't know, 15 items. I'm going to come home, set up and do a sneak peek video, show you guys what's going to be going up for Sunday or Monday or whatever. And then I take my pictures. I got to do my photos. I got to weigh everything up. It's a long drawn process. I mean, if you're doing it my way, it takes a long time. I guess even if you're not even doing the videos, it takes a long time. The reason why I do the demo videos is because, like I said, if you look at some of the stuff I sell, electronics, like I have a Panasonic tape recorder, cassette player. I have a clock radios. I have a brief bag. I bought a Heritage brief bag. And I think I did a video on that, just showing you the inside of it, because, sometimes with the pictures, you could take pictures. I did pictures like that too, inside, outside, all to show you the pouches. But there are times I will do stuff like that. I sold a gingerbread man, a musical gingerbread man. He sings. And I want the people, it was animated. He sits on the table, whatever, and he moves back and forth, and he sings a song. He sings Christmas songs. So I did a video on that there. Does it help sell? I would think so. I would think it gives the buyer the opportunity to, hey, you know, look at this here. Look at this thing's cute, you know, rather than just having a still picture. Video, I think, video is the way to go. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is, and I heard Griff talking on the eBay radio, that they're going to do away with some kind of content, flash content, whatever it is. There was something there, if you'll see it on the descriptions, and I think it's going to happen sometime mid 2017. That's going to be a problem for me because I do like videos. Now, I don't know if he said there's a work around it. I got to listen back to the radio station because they have this thing on eBay radio, listen while you list. So it could be a little distracting. So I do have them in the background as I am listing. And sometimes you might be more concentrated on your listing, which you should be, rather than listening and not paying attention to what you're doing. So do I think video helps? Yeah, I think it does. Are there other people that do it out there? I guess. Well, but from the people I've been looking at, going to the sites, I haven't seen really that many videos of people doing them. It is a lot of work. I mean, you know, when you're doing it, I use a YouTube converter because JavaScript is a problem with eBay. I think if you ever try it without it, you do an HTML on eBay's format, and you do it on your own without the YouTube converter, it'll have a JavaScript error, and eBay won't let you get to the next step. You got to take that out of there. So they have this YouTube converter program where you copy the HTML, and it says make the eBay code. It's strictly for eBay code, and it does things. It does. I don't know the formula. I know it's done in HTML, and you're able to do that. It's a lot of work. I mean, I'm not going to say everybody's going to do this. It's not for everybody. I'm probably one of the few, or a small percentage of people that use videos for eBay, and I like doing them. And if eBay keeps letting people put active content in their website, you know, their website and whatever, I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep doing it. I think it helps, and I like the idea of interacting with people. Whether they think it's, you know, silly or not, that's up to them. But I'm going to do it anyway, and I do think it helps. But the other thing is, getting back to the with the items you're selling on eBay, just do your research. I'm being upfront and honest. I mean, you know, am I making money? Yeah. Is it anything to write home about? Not really, but I do it because I enjoy it. It's a passion that I always had. I always liked retailing. My background is IT. You know, I was back in the IT field, and you know, as time goes on, you're not in a midlife crisis, but you kind of like want to change up and try to do something that you always ventured into, you wanted to do. So that's what happened with me. But you know, that's my background is IT. And I like the IT field. I think it's a good field. It could be very prosperous if you get into the right companies, and it could be very rewarding. But you know, you got to find your passion. And if you're doing something, and even though the money's good and you're somewhat happy, you know, or you're supposed to be happy with the job you have, but it's not you're not wholeheartedly devoted to it because your real passion is something else, then you want to, you know, go into that. You want to go into that thing, that field. Where they say, do what you love to do, and the money will follow. And what's the other thing? Build it, and they will come. I don't know. These are the sayings you hear, you know. And I don't know. I don't know what to say in that part there, you know. But I wouldn't quit my day job. You know, that's my personal thing. Unless you feel, unless you have a lot of money backing you up to carry you through those highs and lows, I wouldn't quit my day job. Some people I hear on eBay radio, and it's funny, you know, when you're sitting there and you hear these people, I'm quitting my day job, I'm doing eBay full time. Listen, God bless you. If you could do it, if you got a formula or a way of, you know, making it a profitable business where you can make tons of money, that's great. I wish you all the best. I mean, it doesn't always work for a lot of people. I'm doing this now full time. Like I said, I mean, you might say, well, you got into it, what, 6 months? Are you actually heavily, you know, doing it heavily? You know, I mean, I'm seeing sales, but you know, it's got its highs and lows, you know. And I just want people to know out there that, when you hear these people talk, that are making a lot of money, you know, listen to what they have to say, and decide for yourself. I'm not knocking any of these guys that say that. Hey, there's people out there making thousands a day, whatever. There's another guy that's I listen on the website. I can't think of his name offhand. He says, I don't know if it's with that merch thing, but he does something where he says he makes 10,000 a month or something like that, and he wants to. If I heard him right, he said he wants to do $1 million a month. Hey, listen, if you could do something like that, wow, that's all I could say. If I find out the link in that YouTube video, I'll share the link with you guys. But if you could make bucks like that, mega money like that, wow, that is great. I really accolades to you. That's great. I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't know. I'm not a naysayer. I'm not a pessimist. I'm an optimist. I always think of the best. I always try to think that things might work, and who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I take it one day at a time. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. If you're gonna do eBay, do it on. Do your research first. See what your niche is, or what you feel comfortable selling. I sell certain things. Like I said, I sell DVDs. I sell very little books. I think books, they always say if you're going to sell books, you're better off going to Amazon for that. Like I said, I never really dealt too much with Amazon. I never really got that involved. Putting stuff on it, because I don't know the platform, how it works exactly. I don't know how their fees. I got to look into it. I have an account with it, but I never really ventured into the Amazon platform. But right now I'm strictly selling on eBay. And Bonanza, Bonanza has a thing where you could import your eBay listings on their website. You just gotta acknowledge the token thing there, whatever, where they could actually go into your eBay account, pull that information off, pull your items you have listed on there. But I mean, I like Bonanza. I like them, and they do have things. I'm with the free service like that. They have a free thing there. And it's just something like if you join a monthly subscription, somehow you'll get more exposure. Now, I don't know. To me, I don't know what they do for that money. I'd have to look into it. With that paid subscription thing that they have, that service, what do? They throw it on a whole bunch of search engines, because if you're typing in bonanza.com, you would think that everybody's tied into that website name, and everybody's gonna come to your thing. I don't know if they have certain algorithms where, like mine's rjpasini on Bonanza. It's rjpasini /com, and it brings up it brings all the items up because it imported from eBay. But I mean, do people see it? Like, what are they going to do to make that there for that paid subscription? What are you actually getting for it? I'm not knocking Bonanza. I like Bonanza. I mean, Bonanza's it seems like a good platform to sell. There are people, and sometimes you're curious, like when I go in there on their website, and I do browsing and stuff, I really would like to see, like, are people really making money off this? Are really selling it? And believe it or not, people are selling on Bonanza, and some people have been there for quite some time, selling from 500 items to 1,000 or better. And Bonanza, it doesn't take much to be a top-rated seller, because they got me listed over as a top-rated seller as well. I only think I sold, since I've been on Bonanza, I don't know, 4 or 5 things. I don't know how they came up with that. I don't know. You want to call me a top-rated seller? Call me a top-rated seller. But the other thing I want to say in closing is, if you're a potential buyer, let's say you do go to my eBay auctions, and you're a potential buyer, read the feedback that people give me. A lot of them are pretty happy with the service I offer, and I like to keep it that way. And now every now and then you're going to get a buyer that's going to be a little disgruntled, not because it's my fault, because they didn't read the description. And I did videos on that there, and you might want to check into that as well. I've had a couple, well, more than a couple buyers order items from me, and when they got them, when they got to their house, they got delivered, they looked in there. One person said they were missing a software disk. Another person was bought a Sims game, said that disc 1 was missing in there. Another one was it was a total of 4. It was a Magnavox CD player, and I stated in there that the CD doesn't play, and the person's like, oh, I didn't read the description, you know. Just to give you a little heads up, if you take eBay serious, I take it pretty serious. Look in when you get those type of things like that, where a seller wants to return something, go to your seller dashboard and look on returns. Now, I don't know if that affects you as far as a top-rated seller, if it has any bearing on it, but check with eBay, or check the seller your seller dashboard. And if you do have a problem like that, where it's showing, I have 0, even though you're saying the people returning stuff, I have 0. And the reason why I have 0, you can say, well, but you got four people that kind of complained. They said that because in the description it was well described in there, and I called up eBay and I verified it with them, and they said, no, Rich, you're okay with that. You're fine. Your description, you did everything right. It won't affect you. It won't go on your seller account as returns. Now you might say, what's the big deal? So if you get returned, it doesn't look right. I mean, who wants to have returns? It does go on your seller dashboard, and I think as a top-rated seller, or even just a regular seller, I think that will affect your performance level. So just make sure you check that out. But the most important thing for buyers and sellers, well, the buyers, please read the description fully, and for the sellers, make sure you fully describe your items, and make sure you put it in bold lettering and highlight it in red, whatever you want to do. But try to capture that buyer's attention, because they order things. People, you think you're putting a description there. I'm sure maybe some might have experienced the same thing. They will complain, and they don't complain to eBay right away. They'll complain to you as the seller, and that's what this one person did. This person was very arrogant. 2 people I had like that. One person said, well, I suggest with the person that didn't get the software, that the main disk was missing, and I stated in there. And the person emails me back, and I suggest that you look for that disk and mail it to me. And that was one thing. And then another person, I sold an item, a Sony radio, and it was missing. It didn't come with the AC adapter. And I put it in there. If you buy this item, you will need an AC adapter to make it work. The person sends me an email. Yeah, I got the item today and there's no AC adapter. I said, I emailed the person back. I said, it was in the description that wasn't there, that it didn't come with it. I get the email back. Well, for your sake, whatever it was, it better work. Better. I mean, I suggest better. Why don't you just call me up on the phone? I don't give my number, and just curse me out or whatever. I mean, what more do you want me to say? I'm putting in there in the description. And that person that said, oh yeah, so the person with the disc, with the software, says, I'm going to send your item back and I'm going to leave you negative feedback. I told the person, I messaged the person back. I said, okay, you do that, I will do the same. After I had that incident, I got right on the phone with eBay. I called them up. I explained the situation. I said, if this person leaves me a negative feedback, am I in the right to get that removed? The person, the eBay representative at eBay said, we have to look into your listing, and we'll see, we'll have to research your listing. Would you mind holding on? I said, sure, I'll hold on. Came back about a minute later, whatever, and they said to me, Ms. Pasini, you're okay. You described it just as it's described, just as you stated it was, and the buyer is at fault. eBay looks at your emails. Like when you call them up, that toll-free number, well, it's a toll-free number to me anyway. You call them up, and they record everything. And let me tell you, the message, even when you get on the phone, it'll tell you. You probably heard it. It's like everybody else. You call up this message and record it, blah, blah, blah. But when I stated to them what was going on, they're already in my account. Oh, we see the emails. We see that the email trails back and forth, that you responded, he responded. So you're okay. So anyway, long story short, if the person does leave the negative feedback, eBay says it will be removed within 24 to 48 hours. So if the person thinks they're going to be slick and threaten you right away, I'm going to leave you a negative feedback, it's going to come off between 24 to 48 hours. So you're only hurting yourself. You're making yourself look foolish. It's your fault. It's people's faults if they don't read the description. And that's why I said I can't stress enough for sellers and the buyers on both ends, because the buyers are going to be eventually selling, their sellers no doubt too. Make sure you put everything in bold lettering, highlight the things, the key features that are missing or whatever, or damaged, or however you're selling it, because some people sell parts for not working. Make sure, I even had it where somebody wasn't selling anything, right? And you know, it was selling something that, or no, I was selling an item that was broken. I said for parts only. I think it was a printer, and the person said, "Yeah, I received the printer today, and it's not working." The part, I had this was years and years ago, when I wasn't a top rate seller. This was years. This had to be probably back in, I don't know, 1999 or 2000, whatever it was. And I told the person, I said, the item, I said, I stated in there that the item's for parts not working. Well, I didn't see that there. I want to send it back. I said, I don't know if the guy took parts out of it or not. I said, well, if it's in one piece, yeah, send it back. I'll refund your money. But they, I don't know if they complained to eBay or not, but I guess they would if I didn't refund the money. But needless to say, I refunded the person. But I mean, if you're putting there and you got it in a tagline there for parts not working, that's why eBay puts it in their format there, their selling format. You list it, pre-owned, used, whatever, not working, for parts not working. Read the thing. Just read the description. That's all. I mean, you could read. I mean, you're on eBay. Read the description. See what it's all about. But you're gonna have your highs and lows with people like that too. Outside of the business going up and down too, you're gonna have your highs and lows. See, like today might be a good day for me. Tomorrow it might be slow, dead as a doornail. I might not make one sale. But the thing is, if you really enjoy this type of work, this type of business, stick to it. I'm not a naysayer. I'm not sitting there trying to knock blow your dreams down, whatever. They say you got to have a dream in order for a dream to come true. And I always tell this sometimes to my family members too. I say, if everybody thought like the naysayers, oh, don't do this, you won't make it, you wouldn't have the IBMs today, the Microsoft, the Apple computers, and all that stuff, because you can't think negative. And a true entrepreneur doesn't always look at the obstacles. It's like a runner in a race. He falls down, he gets up, dusts himself off, and gets back into the race again. You can't just dismiss it. Because if everybody looked at life that way, where we dismiss our dreams, you won't have half of the businesses you have. So I'm not a naysayer. I'm just trying to enlighten people a little what I would do, and as far as like selling. But just do your research. That's all I'm saying. And if you find a niche for yourself, that's fine. The thing is to try to stand out in the crowd, and that's the hard part when you got millions of people on eBay selling stuff. But you might be that one person that may sell that may have that particular item or items that they may like. You might have built a customer brand. That's what I'm hoping to do, build a customer brand where people will actually sit there and say, hey, this guy I bought from him before. He's an honest seller. He doesn't give you a hard time, and that's the way I am. I offer satisfaction guaranteed. If you get something you don't like it, send it back. I'm not going to haggle with you. I'm not going to give you a hard time and say, oh, I bought from this seller and the guy doesn't respond to his emails. He doesn't give refunds. I'm not like that there. I do eBay because like I said, I enjoy this type of work. I enjoy this type of business. It's a passion of mine. I always liked, even before eBay. Back in the day, in my younger years, I tried to start a catalog business, and I had two. But it didn't take off like I wanted it. I was trying to be like actually to like another Sears catalog, or I can't think of another one there. There's another company that I can't think of it offhand. But I wanted to be like that there, like I have it like a Sears catalog. And I had two catalogs printed, one on regular newspaper print. It was a booklet on maybe 10, 15 pages. And I had merchandise I imported from overseas. And I made some sales, but again, not to put me in a successful level like Sears or those big department stores. I wouldn't mind being a merchant, so to speak. It didn't work out that way, but it was something I had back in the 80s. I always enjoyed doing. And now with eBay coming in and selling and stuff like that, I think eBay started, 1994, 95. It kind of like changed the tide around for that there. So people that got involved with it, they're doing good with that. I mean, there are people that started from when eBay started back. I think it was either 94, 95. I think they started. I could be wrong on those days, that years. But there are successful people there, and there are people that making tons and tons of money out there. It's just that I'm not one of them. I wish I could tell you something different, but keep up your dreams, keep up your hopes, don't give up. Could this turn into, could it happen where you're doing it as a part-time venture and it could turn into a full-time venture? It could, sure. There are stories like that there where people have able to sustain enough money, income from this here where they can quit their full-time jobs and do this and do eBay full-time. But my thing is if you can go into it with as little as debt as possible. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like if you're going to buy a house, you don't want to have a heavy debt load, because when they do the income per debt ratio and they see, hey, this guy's got more debt than income, you're not going to get that mortgage approved. I remember when we bought our house, we didn't have any debt. Everything was paid cash. We had very little. We only think we might have had a credit card, 2 credit cards, whatever, and they were all paid for. And I remember going to we went to the mortgage broker, looking at the house, and the guy was saying, because I'm surprised, because I'm really surprised. I go, about what? He goes, I never seen a couple come in with no debt. First off, if you're saving up for something like a house, you want to be very frugal. You're going to watch every nickel and dime you have. You don't buy brand new cars, you buy used, secondhand cars. That's what helped us out. We bought secondhand cars, and we saved, and we didn't use any credit cards. We did do a very maybe minimal, but they were all paid for, and they didn't have high credit lines. Like today, they got credit cards now at $20,000, $15,000, $10,000. I mean, that's dangerous. I mean, when you get credit cards that high with that credit line, that you're asking for trouble. So all I'm saying is, if you're going to do this full time, pay your debt down. I know it sounds easy for me to say, but I'm just trying to bring a point out. Bring your debt load down as much as you can, because you don't want to go into this with a lot of debt. You don't want to have 5 different credit cards, a car payment, auto insurance, if you have a mortgage, or make sure you got all that figured into your budget, what you're going to do. But just that's my suggestion. That's how I would do it, because you don't want to sit there sweating every month. How am I going to make this payment? How am I going to make that payment? And you don't want, the last thing you ever want to do is get to a point, God forbid, where you have to go claim bankruptcy. You don't want to do that. Bankruptcy, if you understand, it's not like it used to be anyway. I think with bankruptcy now, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on it, I think even though you claim bankruptcy, I think that the laws have changed where they want you to pay that back somehow. I thought I heard that there, but you look into it yourselves. I thought I heard it now with the bankruptcy. They're making it that easy, because I guess they feel there are people out there that may jack up their cards, ride them to the limit, knowingly that they're going to claim bankruptcy. So I think they're getting hip to that stuff there for people. That I'm not saying people do it purposely, but I'm just saying it seems like they're treading down on it there. So just watch your stuff. Make sure you stay up to par with that. And that's my suggestion. That's what I do. That's how I look at it. Sometimes we can't help it. We need our credit cards to buy groceries, use it to buy gas, But that's what I'm trying to say. If you keep you stay within your budget, if you could pay cash, pay cash. But the most important thing, if you're going to do this, if you're going to attempt to do this on a full-time basis, my suggestion is go in with as little as debt as possible, because you're going to have those peaks and valleys. And let me tell you something. If you quit your job full-time, you say, well, I think I can handle it. Good luck to you. I wish you all the best. Okay? I wish everybody all the best in doing that there. But it can be scary times. It really can. So that's my suggestion. I'm sorry I made this a long, drawn video, but I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. And thanks again for stopping by. If you want to subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like if you like to see it, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments you want to share on it, where you find me at fault in the way I think, or whatever it may be, leave your comments there. I could take criticism, and I'm not. In closing, I'm not, saying this in a derogative way towards the people that make these claims. Believe me, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm sure you guys, men and women are making a great living and making tons of money, but I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm just trying to enlighten people that, they might get the wrong impression that, you hear these stories, and you got to understand where I'm coming from. People hear these stories. Even myself, I get captivated by when I hear these figures. Like, wow, I would love to do that. And I'm sure there are people doing it. Yeah, I'm sure they're doing it by far. But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to share my own experience that, for myself. And people may say, well, if you're not doing good, whatever, or you're not making the comfortable income that that you want to make, and keep it to yourself. I do keep certain things to myself, but when it comes to things like that, I don't want to see people going into a type of business like this, or any type of business. I mean, I'm just sharing my own thoughts, and it's my opinion, and I know everybody has opinions, as we all know. But I'm just trying to say people might get involved or go into this here blindfolded and not think it out. There's a saying, I'm just going to leave this with you. Those who fail to plan to fail. So it's like eBay's like any other business. The only difference is that you're working from your home as opposed to going to an office working 9 to 5. Just think about what you're doing. That's all I'm saying. I'm not bad-mouthing eBay. I'm not bad-mouthing the business, and I'm not bad-mouthing anybody that makes these claims, or that if you're successful on it, that's great. I wish you all the best. I like to follow your footsteps in that respect. So I don't want you to think like, hey, this guy here is sitting there, he's bad-mouthing people that make claims that make 1,000 a day, 500 a day, whatever. I'm not making any bad, negative claims. I'm just telling people that when you hear it, do your research on it, and that's it. I'm not knocking you guys. Believe me, I'm not saying anything negative against you. I'm just trying to tell people out there, just beware of what you're doing. And if you're going to go into this business, like I said again, my personal opinion is go in it with as little debt as you could, and do your research. That's it. Find a niche. There's other platforms out there. There's Pinterest, there's Etsy out there. Some people I hear, there's guys out there that sell on different platforms. Bonanza, eBay, Amazon, Etsy. I don't know if they sell on Pinterest, but I heard a couple of names like that being thrown. Well, definitely heard the other names, but I don't know about Pinterest. I don't know I guess you can sell on there. I'm not sure, but those are the platforms that people are selling on. So do your research, and I hope whatever information I gave you, giving you on this in this video, it helped out. I'm sorry. Like I said again, I'm sorry. I apologize that it went on so long. But I hope it helps out. But anyway, thanks again. If you do stop by your auction sites, just go to rjpasini-com, and you'll, if you want to bring up an eBay user search engine, you'll see my items I'm selling. And you could also go to the website too, which I have to update. And I'm going to do a video on that there, the services I use. Along with Bonanza, the service I use for the website web hosting. I'm going to do a video on that too, just to share that with you guys. Okay, thanks again. Have a great day, and thanks for stopping by and listening and checking out my video. Bye now.